afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. My name is Steve Gregorian. I'm the president and CEO of the Detroit Economic Club, and I want to welcome you to today's 15th annual sold-out meeting. Over 500 Detroit Red Wings fans strong. No question, this is still Hockey Town, Detroit. So let's get started. I want to ask you please just take a moment to silence your cell phone so we do not disturb the program. And a DEC tradition is we always begin by honoring our country with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I invite you to stand and join me, and the flag is to my right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And kindly remain standing as our invocation today will be delivered by Reverend Eric Croft with Calvary Church in Southgate. Reverend?
Bow your heads together with me in prayer. Lord, we want to thank you for the opportunity to gather here today, to see old friends and to make new ones. We're grateful to live in a country that gives us the freedom to make a gathering like this possible. Lord, bless the men and women across the globe who give up themselves every day to secure that freedom for us all. We thank you for our provision in the little things, like the meal we just ate together, and your provision in the larger things, like the financial resurgence in our city. Lord, bless this state that we live in, bless the city of Detroit that we love, and Lord, bless our meeting today. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you, Reverend, and please be seated. I want to take a moment and thank a couple of organizations for making today possible. It's never lost on us after 15 years what a privilege and honor it is to host the Red Wings each and every year. I'm not sure I've heard of another NHL team that does something as cool as this. So I want to thank Chris Ilitch, Chris Granger, and the Ilitch organization. I want to thank the Red Wings players, coaches, and executives for this incredible opportunity. I also want to welcome and thank Mickey Redmond and Ken Daniels, the Red Wings talented TV broadcast team, for being with us today. On top of all the excitement of the day, each of you are going to receive a gift from the Detroit Red Wings. On your way out, you're going to receive a poster and set of hockey cards. So thank you to the Red Wings for your generosity. If you've been with us before, you know we love having high school and college students at each meeting, and today is no exception. These students are here courtesy of our generous corporate sponsors, and they had the privilege of spending some time at a student-only reception with Danny DeKaiser and Nicholas Cronwell. Let's take a moment, and I want to tell you who's in the house with us today. We've got students from University of Windsor, sponsored by Huntington Bank. Students from Wayne State University, thanks to Satish and the Bank of Ann Arbor. Waterford Mott High School students, thank you, Stephen Polk and Highgate. Grosse Pointe South, thanks to Dawn, Christy, and John from Oakland University. Two groups from Melvindale High School, one sponsored by Strategic Staffing Solutions, the other by Chris Granger and the great folks at Ilitch Holdings. The Boys and Girls Club, thank you to Michael Solon. And finally, Cody High School, thanks to Abby Rawson and Quicken Loans. Ladies and gentlemen, how about joining me in a round of applause to welcome the students and thank their sponsors? A couple things quickly on your table. Take a minute to check out our sponsor brochure. Please patronize those businesses. They are the reason that we're here today and the reason that we can continue to bring you 50 programs each and every year. So thank you to those sponsors. Also on your table is our season lineup. We hope you can join us on March 24th when we host Dr. Tom Mihaljevic, CEO of Cleveland Clinic, who will give us his thoughts on healthcare in this new decade. Now, March 24th is certainly the next time we are scheduled to meet, but watch your email for some exciting things we are working on. Twitter, if you're a tweeter, we want you to tweet today using @DEC Economic Club. And finally, one of the more popular elements of DEC meetings is we get to hear from you in the final few minutes of the program. The Red Wings have agreed to answer your questions, and you can submit those via your smartphone. I would just ask you to be specific on which player or coach the question is for. And now, to welcome you on behalf of Ilitch Holdings, please welcome Group President, Sports and Entertainment, Chris Granger.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you all for coming, and a special thanks to Steve Yzerman, Coach Blashill, our entire coaching staff, and certainly the Detroit Red Wings. I have been lucky enough to work in team sports on the business side for over 20 years at this point. This is my third season here in Detroit, and I have to tell you, I absolutely love the Detroit Red Wings. And I do so for a few reasons. One is, I just think the Red Wings, more so than perhaps any other team in any other city, really represent the ethos of Detroit. They are gritty, they are hardworking, they hustle, they are passionate, they are humble, and there's a real sense of family within this organization. And I just think all of those things represent you and I at our best and in our best moments. And I really love that about the Red Wings. The second thing is, and I'll tell you a little story to illustrate the point, is I was at a game a couple nights ago, and I was actually in our Comerica Bank Players Club. And if you've been to our Comerica Bank Players Club, it's a club that is situated between the Red Wings locker room and the ice, so that when our players are leaving the locker room, they actually walk through the club to get to the ice. So as you can imagine, it's really cool, and it's quite a show. So I'm down there before the game, and I see two little boys, and clearly they're brothers. They're dressed the same, they look the same. One's probably 5 years old, and one's probably 7 years old. And you could see them sort of muscling each other to try to get to the front so they can, fist bump the players when they come out. So I'm watching this transpire, and one says to the other, "No, I was here first," and he sort of shoves him a little bit. And then the other little kid goes, "No, I was here first," and he pushes him. And you see the mom getting tense in the background. "I was here first," punch. "I was here first," shove. And they start scrapping right in front. The mom starts crying. I'm like, oh my gosh. Just then though, the lights go down and it's showtime. So again, in this players club, we turn these red and white lights on, and the smoke comes out for the players. The Red Wings locker room doors open. The kids turn and look at the door, and you see their eyes get big, the jaws drop, and they go, "This is awesome!" High-fiving each other, hugging each other. 5 seconds ago, they were ready to kill each other. And now they're hugging, arm around each other, high-fiving the players as they come out. And it was just such a great lesson about how the Red Wings can bring us together. And in a time like today, in today's world, when we are more divided, arguably, than ever before, the Red Wings can bring us together. They bring brothers together, they bring families together, they bring businesses and their clients together, they bring us together here today. So on behalf of the Detroit Red Wings, on behalf of the Illich organization, thank you all so much for coming today. We really appreciate your support. Through thick and thin, this is Hockey Town, and we don't take your support for granted. So thank you very much. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the absolute best broadcast team in the entire NHL, if not all of sports. Please welcome Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond.
How we doing, gang?
Thank you,
Hope enjoyed
Chris.
that lunch.
Yeah,
Make
it was
that
good.
mic a little lower for you.
That's funny.
We have to go through that all the time, and that's why we ask for 2 mics.
That's right. We're honored to be here. This is the 15th year that Mick and I have been honored to be here, and this is the first time here at beautiful Soundboard. This is such a magnificent facility, and we're certainly something that we look forward to every year that the Red Wings organization puts on.
Let's start by thanking, if I can get the light right here, thanking the Detroit Club Economic Club for hosting this luncheon. As Ken mentioned, it's the Red Wings' 15th year here, and 86 years that this club has been putting on the luncheon like this. And to the men and women of our local Detroit businesses, as well as the students and prospective business leaders in attendance today, it's your hard work and dedication that is leading such a tremendous growth and development in this city. And I'd also like to take a minute to introduce a couple of hockey teams that are here with us. The Notre Dame Prep High School hockey team and the Waterford United hockey team. Stand up and wave your hands, guys. I got a game at 4:30 this afternoon. Good luck, all of you.
And in just a few minutes, you'll hear from Red Wings Executive Vice President and General Manager Steve Yzerman, Head Coach Jeff Blashill, along with Dylan Larkin, Luke Glendenning, and Tyler Bertuzzi as part of our roundtable discussion right here, and then we'll open it up, as has been mentioned from Steve, to questions from you in attendance here today.
As someone who has worn the winged wheel I know the pride that these players wear it with and the standard they are striving to uphold, not only for their teammates, but the city and the fans that support them. This season has been challenging, but not entirely unexpected. As Steve and Jeff have said many times, patience is what we need on this rebuild, and it's coming along nicely.
And whether it's down at Little Caesars Arena or on the road, the passion and the enthusiasm that the fans make up for Hockey Town is certainly as strong as ever. We see it wherever we go, and as Mickey said, this year has been a little different, but it's all part of the process. See, I'm Canadian, but I've learned to say process and not process, so we're there. There has been growth and development at every level of this organization. Again, it's not organization, it's organization, I'm learning. From on the ice at Little Caesars Arena to over in Grand Rapids with the Griffins to the world stage at the World Junior Tournament that we witnessed this past December and into early January.
Hockey Town, we've got the right guys in charge, and there's a lot to be excited about. Let's take a look.
Get your hands up. That's right. Feeling all right. Let's go. Let's get it. Get certain. Let's go. Let's get it. Get your hands up. That's right. Feeling all right. Let's go. Let's get it.
That gets you revved up. I see passion on there, and it's such a great term. We're ready for our hot stove here, as we used to call it in the old days, right, Mick? Hot stove. There you
You got it.
The old
Culture of the Red Wings is alive and well.
Yeah. With Executive Vice President Steve Yzerman, General Manager Steve Yzerman, Head Coach Jeff Blashill, alternate captain Dylan Larkin, Luke Glendenning, and the All-Star Tyler Bertuzzi, and my broadcast partner of 23 years now, longest-serving TV duo in the National Hockey League, and we're very proud of that. Thanks for letting me ride your coattails, Mick. Appreciate it. The best, Mickey Redmond.
We got another 23. Nothing wrong with that. Ready to get going?
Ready to get going, all you?
Start with the coach, Jeff Blashill. Talk about the role that injuries have had this season. You obviously want a healthy roster, but it also provides some great opportunities for other and younger players, right?
Well, that's certainly true, Mick. We've obviously had lots of injuries, but that's part of life, part of the National Hockey League. And what it does do for certain is give guys, whether it's guys that would have been in the lineup, potentially bigger roles than they might have had guys been healthy. And so then you get a chance to potentially flourish in those roles. You have guys that might not have played first. We've had a lot of players come from Grand Rapids, so they get the opportunity to show what they can do at this level. So I think it's that part's been a blessing. Certainly there's you don't want to see anybody get hurt, and as a hockey team you'd like to stay as healthy as you can, but it does provide that opportunity.
Steve, there's been a lot of excitement on your return. What went into your decision? How every day the hem and the hawing and beforehand making that final decision? What went into it all for you to come
Well,
back?
it really wasn't a lot of hemming and hawing. When I had, when I stepped down in Tampa a year ago roughly, talked to Kenny a little bit, just in discussion about, what my plan was. I didn't really have a plan, and so we're going to spend the season in Tampa. They had asked me to stay on and help Julian Brisebois in the transition, and did that. And then in the spring, when Chris I reached out, for me it was an easy decision to come back to the organization. We were in a similar position in 1983 when I first got here. Spent my entire career with the organization. My family's here. My kids are born here. So it was an easy decision to come back and be a part of the organization.
Thanks, Steve. Dylan, your 100th goal, just a little bit ago. Looking back, growing up just down the road, could you ever imagine when you were skating around the ponds and outside that you'd have that kind of an opportunity with your hometown team?
No. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that it was a special moment, I guess, and you don't want to stop there, but something that you look at and feel good about. And we played with great line mates and played with great players, and been in a great opportunity to achieve that, and wouldn't be able to do it without my line mates and my teammates. And growing up close by, I never thought I would even be able to play in the NHL or wear a Red Wing wing wheel, so I'm pretty lucky.
Luke, you've got an A on your jersey. What does that mean to you?
I don't know that I have words to describe what it means. There's a lot of great leaders on this team. I've been fortunate to learn from the older guys here now, but also, from Z and Croner and Pav, the guys who came before me. Our room has a lot of great older guys that have been great leaders. Having a letter on your jersey is definitely an honor, but I just try to follow the lead that they've set for me.
Thanks, Luke. Tyler, your first opportunity to go and play with the stars of the league, what was that 4 or 5 days like for you?
Yeah, obviously it was an honor to represent the Red Wings, and it was a good weekend. It went by pretty fast, obviously, and it was a good opportunity for me, and I enjoyed myself a lot.
You enjoyed yourself there, and you also had to change your travel plans, and something special happened on that too. Talk about that.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Cabo with all of the guys, and obviously I got invited to the All-Star game, and I was planning to get married in Cabo, and had to change my plans last minute and do it in Miami.
How did she go? Is she okay with that?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Take it away. Good stuff.
I want more on that.
I shouldn't have said married. I engaged.
That's true. When's the rest of that coming?
Not this summer. Next summer.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. Nice. Steve, well, Tyler's a guy who was ranked, I guess Central Scouting had him 200 and something, but the Red Wings obviously saw something in Tyler and took him a lot earlier, and you've been on the road a lot, scouting everywhere. How important is it to the draft, obviously, in where we are and what you got to do?
Well, really, it's crucial for every team in the NHL. We're soon to be 32 teams in the league. We're at a time in hockey with all the teams. It's hard to get talent. It's hard to build your team through free agency, through trades. The only way to really build it and sustain it is through the draft. And we're all trying to do the same thing. I was just in Europe for roughly 10 days, and it's kind of a funny process. We're going to all these tournaments, and again, the same 32 organizations now, they're there. We're at a game in this arena, and then we got to get to a game, and everybody does the exact same thing, jumps in a car, crowds into a car, goes to the next game. We're just all a big pack of guys going around watching, and we're all watching the same players, and in some cases you got to get lucky. We kind of joke in scouting and management, if Tyler Bertuzzi is obviously a very good player and was picked by the 4th round. If the Red Wings would say, if we knew he was going to be that good, we would have picked him sooner. The same for Zetterberger, Datsuk's, and whatnot. So most importantly, you have to have a lot of draft picks, and you can't just sit around and hope that your first round is going to hit every year and you're going to get a star. You need to expedite the process. You need some of the guys drafted beyond the first round to make your team. So number one is getting out there and watching the players, and we like to identify, we use the term, we're going to identify what is a Red Wing, what are the characteristics of a Red Wing player, and we stick to those characteristics. Now we're drafting 17, 18, and 19-year-olds. It can change a lot over time, so that throws another kind of difficulty or a degree of difficulty into the process. So again, we're going to try and now is hang on to as many picks as we can. We're going to try and identify players who fit the mold of what we're trying to do, and some of it is a projection, and eventually we'll get there, and whether it be through trade and free agency, we'll try to expedite the process a little bit by adding a player here and there that fits what we're doing.
8 picks this summer so far?
Yes, 8.
Right now. And Mick, as Steve said to me before, when you have 7 picks, if you hit on 1, you're doing pretty good. If you hit on 2, you're doing great, right? Out of 7 in most drafts, you hope for 1.
Trying to set our sights a little higher than that, but we're trying to, reality is if you can get 2 players every year out of the draft that play on your team, I think you'll get more that will see some time on your team, but 2 players that are on your team for some extended period of time, I think most teams you're doing really well, and that's the difficulty of it. And again, it's a 32-team league. Wasn't that long ago there was 21 teams, so the 32nd pick in the draft was halfway through the second round. That's a first-round pick now, and we all have analytics departments. We all do these projections and percentages of guys playing and whatnot, and you look at it and you're building through the draft, and you're like, whoa, is there a better plan?
Right.
There isn't one yet.
Right. Mick?
Dylan, you've got a special friend by the name of Michael. You brought him down to practice a few weeks ago. Talk about that relationship and your involvement with Special Olympics.
Yeah, that was a special day for me. I got the chance to play in Rocket Mortgage Celebrity Challenge this summer, and played with Justin and Jimmy, and I was walking down the fairway, and there's these big PGA stars, and Kid Rock was out there, and me and Howie were just kind of walking in the background, and not really a part of it. No one was using our shots, and there was this young boy on the behind the ropes, jumping up and down, yelling D-Boss, D-Boss, and Howie's like, hey, let's go over there and see that kid, and it happened to be Michael, and just to see his excitement and to hear his story of a kid that has Down syndrome and fought cancer as well, and every day he was in the hospital with cancer, he would watch our games, and he wanted his whole room to be decorated Red Wings, and Red Wings everything, and just to see his excitement for us, and just to meet that young boy, it was very special, and got his information from his parents, and was able to have him do a practice, and he put my helmet on, my gloves on, he even dropped his gloves and tried to fight me, and but just things that we're able to do, and the people we're able to reach, and the Hockey Town Cares and the Red Wings Foundation, the platform they give us to reach people, and just special. I'm very grateful that we have that, and have such supporting owners, and give us that opportunity to meet people like that, and impact lives, and that goes beyond hockey.
Well said.
Luke, from your time at Michigan, Max Pacioretty leaves early. You get a spot at Michigan, in Grand Rapids, go to Toledo, they tell you to work on stuff. Boy, you worked on face-offs and the challenge. And when you were in Toledo, what was your thought process at the time on how to get back? Did you ever dream you'd be where you are now then?
No, definitely never thought I'd be here, but I think my thought process was just it's a foot in the door, it's an opportunity. You know, when I was in college, well, before college, I never thought I was going to play in college. And then, you know, when I got to college, I never thought I was going to play pro, and all the way up. So, you know, I've just had more fun competing and doing this for the last, I don't know, 7 years. But never thought I'd be here, so every day is a great day for me.
The coach who cut him in GR wasn't very smart either.
But you had him work on stuff, didn't you? You knew.
Worked on stuff.
Tyler, last question for you. Last month was Mother's Trip. You brought your mom. What was that whole experience like for both of you?
Yeah, well, she had the time of her life. Obviously, everyone knows that she's loud just like me, and she got along with Bosie's mom, Fabs' mom, and you know, just to experience what we go through every day. And obviously, they let us get to where we are today. They did everything for us. They, you know, whether it's taking us to practice or you know, whatever it was, you know, they deserve the world. They deserve that 4 days of, you know, pampering and, you know, the nice hotels, the private planes, and you know, I was happy to you know, have her there with me.
Have you heard the song by Stompin' Tom Connors called Hockey Mom?
No.
Look it up on YouTube and send it to your mom.
Well, just sing it.
You'll love it.
Just sing it.
No, not today. No.
Really?
Not today. No, it's a great song. You know the song. It's a
do.
great song.
I'm not
All
singing.
about moms.
You're good.
Taking kids to the rink when we were all, you know, knee-high to a grasshopper and all that stuff, and it's all good stuff.
I want to know who's louder, your mom or your Uncle Todd?
Yeah, maybe my aunts. You haven't even met them yet.
I have to ask Todd about her. Blash, in a season it's been challenging, what's your message every day? Because the guys hearing from, they're pretty positive all in all, and that's got to be from you on down, I would think.
Well, I mean, it's certainly obviously been a hard year. There's no doubt about it, and we've talked about that, the reality of it, and there's no hiding behind that. But you know, I think the biggest thing we've tried to do as a group is we get a chance every day to go in and try to, one, figure out what our issues are, both you know, as a team collectively and as individuals, and two, find solutions. And we've tried to be as solution-based as possible every day. We've tried to not let frustration take us over. Like, frustration's the biggest wasted emotion ever. It doesn't help anything. So we've tried to wipe frustration out as much as we can. Certainly learn from the previous game, but really have a next game and a next shift mentality as we move on, with the idea that we're getting better. You know, I think as we move forward here the rest of the year, we'll do that every day. We're going to try to get better as individuals, and we're going to try to get better as a group, and that'll be our focus as we continue to move forward.
Steve, a final thought from you. I know from day one you preached patience, and when Mickey's out and I'm out, and we hear that from fans, and I think for the most part they are being patient. They're heeding what you said, and I think they're accepting it every day that this group competes, and they're fun to watch. A thought from you?
Well, I'll just touch on Blash's comments. From my perspective, throughout the course of the season, yes, we know where we are in the standings. It's been a difficult year, but myself sitting back, kind of observing, watching, I'm very pleased to see the players, some of them up here, out here, with the professionalism, with the work ethic on a day-to-day basis. And again, I played on the team in, was it 85, 86? Steph, we were part of that team. We won 17 games. It was a tough year, and I was in the room and a part of it, and unfortunately, part of the reason why we only won 17 games. It was a tough year, but this group has been extremely professional. They come to practice someday after a tough loss, show up the next day and watch with the right attitude, you know, improving on things in the gym, conducting themselves well under a difficult circumstance. So from my perspective, I'm pleased with the attitude of the team. The coaching staff is working hard with the players on a lot of things. So it's an opportunity, one, for players, whether it be an older player or a young guy just coming up from the minors. They're getting opportunity, whether it be because of injury or because of performance-based. Guys are getting a chance. The coaching staff's getting an opportunity to do things a little bit differently, try different systems, try different players in different positions. So you're learning things. It'll all benefit later on, and I think the experiences for everyone, the difficulties, the struggles, you get better because of it, and you're allowed to try things, and you know what, it's humbling for us all, and that's okay. But now, having said that, the patience, I can't tell you it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You know, we've got a draft coming up. We don't know where we're picking. We don't know who we're getting. We don't know who the next Tyler Bertuzzi is or Luke Glendening is. Those players are going to come along and surprise us, and that may be a year from now, which expedites the process, or it may take longer. We don't know. So, you know, a lot of business people out here in the room, and everybody's, you know, you got a 5-year plan, and you're going to go this and that in sports, and maybe it's that way in business. I don't know, but you know, it's so unpredictable because we don't know who the players are going to be, who's going to be available, who's going to come along. But we have a process that we'll go through, and we'll stick to it. And myself trying to surround myself with the best possible people to help make the best decisions. And I'm confident we'll get there just because I've seen it done. I've seen it done in this organization, and I've seen it done in other organizations. It just takes some time. I wish I could give a specific date, but I can't.
How much do you remember? You don't want to remember much about that year, do you? 85, 86? Do you remember
things that?
Do you remember standing with Gallant in Minnesota when Dave Strader and I walked in near the end of the season? You probably don't. You were scraping your sticks, and Strader and I walked in, and Steve and Gallant are standing there, and Steve looks up. He goes, "Oh God, here comes those TV guys. We never win when you're around." And I went, "Sorry, Steve, you don't win much when we're not around either." He goes, "You got me there."
Well, back then, I don't think every game was on TV. It was Channel 50
No, it wasn't. We
back
only
then.
did 17
Fortunately,
games that
you
year.
didn't see every one.
Our record was 115-1.
Oh, God.
But 2 years later, we're in the conference finals against the Edmonton Oilers. So.
Yes. So I can't guarantee we're going to be in the conference finals in 2 years, but there certainly is hope.
Great memory, anyway. Good stuff.
Thank you, guys. We'll let all of you take your seats, and we'll turn things over to Chris for some questions from the audience. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so I have a few questions from the audience here that we're going to ask of some of the fellas here. And as a marketer, I appreciate the creative questions, so I'm going to start with some of the more creative questions here. So we'll start with a question for Jimmy Howard. I'm not sure where Jimmy is. All right. In a recent anonymous player poll, you were voted the most superstitious player on the team. Do you accept that designation, or do you feel there's someone else among your teammates that deserves that designation?
No, I'll accept it. I think it's just, part of being a goalie. You get, those things where when you're preparing, for a game, I got to stretch. I got to get dressed a different way. I got to tape my stick out on the bench, and then I go through, a process out there. So, I'll gladly take it from you guys.
Very good, very good. Next question is for Tyler Bertuzzi. Oh, perfect. Your first All-Star weekend, congratulations on that. If you had to go head-to-head against any of your teammates in a skills competition event, and you had to win, what event would you pick against which of your teammates?
I'd go get Nemeth in shooting.
Can you expand on that?
It's just an inside joke.
Okay. Fair enough, fair enough. Okay, how about for Gustav Lindstrom? Here, in the back. Take us through the day last week when you learned you were getting your first call up to the Red Wings. Were you nervous? Did any of your teammates give you any tips? How did you feel going into that game?
I don't know. I was so nervous, during the already after they called me up from that day, and then we had 2 days until the game, and my nap that game day was probably the worst ever. usually I can sleep like 3 hours easily before a game, but I couldn't sleep for like 1 second. So I was really nervous, but after like the warm up, I felt better, and yeah, so I felt good after that.
Perfect. How about Giovanni Smith? Okay. As one of our rookies, what's the most surprising thing to you about life in the NHL?
It's just really fun. You know, grew up playing ice hockey, play a lot of outdoor ice hockey, and to be able to play in the NHL, it's a dream for me.
Fantastic. How about Brendan Perlini? As the lone NHL player born in the United Kingdom, tell us about the sport in the UK. How popular is it? Do you expect more players to come from there? Are you excited for an eventual game in London?
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's growing every year. It's definitely a unusual sport over there. Obviously, soccer is big, and sports like cricket and that are pretty big over there. So hopefully it keeps growing. My brother is lucky enough; he actually plays over there and plays for Great Britain. So with them, they qualified for the top division in World Championships, and they stayed up last year. So that's huge for the country, and hopefully they keep getting more recognition, and hopefully that provides more insight for kids into the game and stuff, and it's a pretty unique thing over there. So yeah, hopefully it keeps growing.
Awesome, thank you. Anthony Mantha. As an avid country fan, if you could put together the optimal country concert lineup, what 3 artists would you choose and why?
I did cheat. I looked at the questions beforehand, so I had my answer already. So I need to go with Carrie Underwood to start it off. I mean, she just always performs pretty well. And then I would go with Luke Combs and Luke Bryan.
Perfect.
Simple fact, they could put on a great show, and they're 2 of the best artists out there right now.
All right. How about Madison Bowie? Madison, we had the Mothers and Mentors game last month, and the team was surprised when the coaches picked 3 of the moms to come out and announce the starting lineup before the game. What was going through your head when your mom walked into the locker room?
Well, when Blash said we got some life of the party moms coming in, I thought it could have been mine. And I was like, oh no. But I think, it was my mom, Bert's mom, and Robbie Fabry's mom, and I think they did a great job. I know she definitely enjoyed that moment. She still talks about it today, and it was definitely a good way to get us going for that game. Obviously, we didn't win, but I think that's just to show how special that trip was, and it meant a lot to them, and my mom was very proud to be able to do that.
Very cool, very cool. How about Adam Ernie? Not here. How about Valtteri Filppula? What does it mean to you to have played your first and your 1,000th game as a member of the Detroit Red Wings?
It means a lot. Obviously, when first came in the league, you don't know how many games you're going to get. Definitely didn't think I'm going to get this many games. And then when I first left Detroit, I didn't necessarily think I'm going to be coming back. So turned out really nice and a special moment for me.
Fantastic. How about Robbie Fabry? How did you spend your day with the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, that was a pretty special day. It was pretty family oriented.
I did some stuff for the community where I played minor hockey. I brought it. I went to the hospital to visit my no-no, and then had a little family party. Eating spaghetti out of the cup. Like a true Italian would, and then rented out a rooftop bar in Toronto and invited about 200 people of my parents' friends and my friends, and just it was nice spending it with all of them.
Very nice. And we'll do one more here. How about Alex Baega? Alex is a Harvard graduate. Which of your teammates would you most want on your team for a trivia contest?
That's an easy one. Mike Green. He's always doing the crossword puzzles, and every sort of puzzle in the New York Times and Wall Street Journal, so easy one for sure.
Perfect, perfect. All right, fellas, thank you as always. We really appreciate it. I'm going to turn it back to Ken and Mickey right now, and thank you again for coming, everyone.
Thank you, Chris. And before we conclude with our team here today, I just want to take a moment and thank the Detroit Economic Club for inviting us once again, and we enjoy this each and every year. And before we head out to fly to Buffalo this afternoon, we meet the Sabres tomorrow night on Fox Sports Detroit, then on to New Jersey and Boston on Saturday afternoon. Boy, 5 straight over Boston. That's good news. We'd like to recognize all our players and coaching staff with us here today. Mr. Redmond's going to lead us off.
Okay, we're live here. Assistant video coach, let's start off. Jeff Weintraub. Where are you, Jeff?
Video coach, LJ Scarpace. You're up, Saleko.
Goaltending coach, Jeff Saleko.
Assistant coach, Adam Nightingale.
Assistant coach, Doug Huda.
Assistant coach, Dan Bilesma.
Number 3, defenseman, Alex Biega.
Number 11, and we hope he gets healthy soon, Philip Zadina.
Number 14, Robbie Fabry.
Number 17, Philip Hronik.
Number 22, Patrick Nemeth.
Number 25, Mike Green.
Number 28, Gustav Lindstrom.
Number 29, Brendan Perlini.
Number 35, Jimmy Howard.
Getting set to return, number 39, Anthony Mantha.
Number 43, Darren Helm.
Number 45, Jonathan Bernier.
Number 48, Giovanni Smith.
Number 51, Valtteri Filppula.
Number 52, Jonathan Erickson.
Number 59, Tyler Bertuzzi.
And number 65, Danny DeKaiser.
Number 67, Taro Hiroshi.
Number 70, Christopher N.
Number 72, Andreas Athanasiou. Bowie.
Number 74, Madison Bowie.
Number 83, Trevor Daly.
Alternate captain and number 8, Justin Abdelkader.
Alternate captain number 41, Luke Glendenning.
Alternate captain number 71, Dylan Larkin.
Alternate captain number 81, Franz Nielsen.
Head coach of the Detroit Red Wings, Jeff Blashill.
And Executive Vice President and General Manager, Steve Yzerman. You can go ahead.
One more time for your 2019-20 Detroit Red Wings.
There you go.
You got a winner up
See
there.
you outside.
Last word here.
Go.
Before we close it up, once again, thank you very much to the Economic Club of Detroit for having the Detroit Red Wings here for now our 15th season. We continue to try to bring the culture that the Red Wings represent to the city of Detroit, the state of Michigan, and no matter what happens on the ice at times, the culture is still there. And as you can see by the videos that you saw here today, these players are more than happy when schedule permitted to get out and visit people who maybe are less fortunate than a lot of us. And when you're in a position to make a difference, we need to make a difference, and that's what this hockey team tries to do. So thank you very much for your support through all of this, and we'll see you at the rink.
Round of applause for Mickey Redmond, please. Thank you, Mickey, for your talents and time. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll conclude our meeting today. This meeting is adjourned. Go Wings!